we're outside the presence of the jury with all counsel and Mr. Liggins present. Do you want to take a record?
Please, Your Honor.
All right.
This is on the Christopher Kadera matter. Roberta Kadera is absolutely not available, and so there's no problem with that. When I had responded to Mr. Walton this weekend about Mr. Kadera and Mr. Fellner, I know we have no issues on Mr. Fellner and the testimony about the telephone issues. I had not had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Liggins, and to be quite honest with you, I hadn't even thought about that when he made that to Mr. Liggins. Since I was coming up right now, Mr. Liggins was kind of got my ear and explained some of his concerns about why we need to make every effort to have Mr. Kadera here in person or at least available by video, hopefully subject to questioning and not just a transcript. We're going to confirm that tonight. Could you just please answer the reports that I need to look at, and the court's aware of a lot of respect for the Liggins closes the case study with everybody. And I informed counsel just now, Mr. Walton, that we have this change in circumstances. I realize that there's a difficulty with the flight because of the hurricane. And I would be willing to give that change, however, we would agree to video stream this testimony. Confirm that he can hear it live. Confirm that and let the court do that tomorrow morning. Today, we would object to the reading of that transcript until we get this video.
Mr. Walton, is that agreeable with you?
Yes, Your Honor. I understand the problem. I don't think now that we've lost a day that we will be able to get Mr. Kadera here for our case. It takes 2 days, a 2-day flight. I don't know whether Mr. Kadera reached at this point. Notify our office, they notify him that we would not make him. So I would also advise the court that Mr. Kadera has advised us through emails that he remembers absolutely nothing about this case. And I advise Mr. Hallbaker about that. I think that probably the state's intention to continue to pursue that under these circumstances he just is not available. So we can't get him here. I don't know that we can get him by some sort of video.
Why don't we do this? Mr. Walton, you asked your office just to try to recontact him today, just tell him that he may be needed for a video deposition and a video trial testimony. And Mr. Hallbaker, if you determine tomorrow morning that you want to try and do that, you would have to try and make arrangements. If we determine that we can use the transcripts, then we'll go with that.
I don't see any difficulty if we can all agree. First of all, his testimony isn't all that long anyway, but to do the video streaming to avoid that hassle of works too well here. And I should let the court know too that if you recall, we were having some difficulties with the subpoena process with our own office in Oklahoma. We have contacted him, and he will, he doesn't need to be subpoenaed. I do think because of our difficulty getting claims against him, we still request that we can do it by video stream, assuming I can make those arrangements. I don't think it's that difficult. I can normally find a local office of our ilk that's willing to come to this step.
Well, I'll let you two work on that, and if it doesn't work, then we certainly have some prior testimony we can go back on. But if it does work, then we can testify through video screen, and we'll certainly do that as well. I don't think that forecloses anybody from using prior testimony to impeach or try and repress our recollection if necessary.
have the transcripts of proposed exhibit 518, the testimony of Paul Fellner.
Anything else before we adjourn?
I think so, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. All right, let's do this major call.
Your Honor, at this time, pursuant to the previous order of the court, I would propose the transcript of the testimony of Roberta Kadera from the 1993 trial be read to the jury, and that is proposed in exhibit 520.
Exhibit 520 is submitted.
Roberta Evelyn Kadera, called as a witness by the defendant, and first duly sworn by the court, was examined and testified as follows, and that is being read by Charity Sullivan.
Ms. Kadera, please state your full name for the court, please, and spell your last name.
Roberta Evelyn Kadera, Kadera.
And where do you presently reside?
2511 West 70th Street.
Is that where you lived in September of 1990?
No.
Do you recall what your address was in September of 1990?
422 Myrtle.
Is that where you were living on September 17, 1990?
Yes.
Did you have occasion on September 17, 1990 to drive in the area of Jefferson School in the evening?
Yes.
Do you remember at this time the approximate time you may have been driving in that area?
It would have been right around 9 o'clock.
And who was with you at that time?
My husband, Christopher.
And were you driving or was he driving?
He was.
And where were you sitting in the vehicle?
The passenger seat.
The front passenger seat?
Yes.
Was there anyone else in the vehicle?
No.
Do you recall what route you were traveling that evening?
Yes.
Could you tell the court or the jury what route it was that you were driving or riding that evening?
We went up Marquette, 12th Street, made a right on 12th Street, went down 12th Street and made a right on Myrtle.
When you say you were going up Marquette and then turned right on 12th Street, would that have been in the easterly direction on 12th Street then?
Yes.
You indicated that you went to where 12th Street meets Myrtle and turned left on Myrtle.
Yes.
Ms. Kadera, I'm going to place on this easel IU State's Exhibit 2, which has previously been admitted in this matter, and I would like to hand you a pointer and ask the court permission for you to step up here by this side of the easel. I'm going to hand you the pointer, and I would ask you to point out to the jury what your route was, what your route was that you were taking that evening.
Well, Marquette's not on here.
Can you tell me where Marquette would be located?
It would be a block that way of Myrtle, west of Myrtle.
If the photograph continued, would Marquette be below the photograph or above the photograph?
Below.
So you were traveling on Marquette to 12th Street, is that correct?
Yes.
And would you point where 12th Street is?
Right here. We turned up Myrtle, and the fire was around here.
You observed a fire in that area?
Yes,
Did you observe anything else as you traveled up 12th Street?
yes, there was somebody running from the fire towards the woods.
Could you point on the photograph where that person was running?
Right there.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Kadera. You can sit down again. The individual that you saw running in this fire, what first attracted your attention?
It was like a flare-up of the fire.
Could you describe more graphically what you mean by flare-up of the fire?
It looked like it went from a smaller fire to like poof, it was bigger.
That's what first attracted your attention?
Yes, the bright light.
And was it after that you noticed this individual running away?
Yes.
Did you notice anything else about this individual running away?
He had long hair, a black leather jacket with silver studs, and white tennis shoes.
And how were you able to see all that from where you were in the car?
Our headlights, as we turned, reflected.
Reflected off of that individual?
Yes.
Were you able to see that individual at all from the light of the fire?
No, besides the backside of him was all he was running.
Do you know who that individual was?
No, I don't.
Shortly after September 17th, 1990, did you have occasion to tell this same story to any police officers?
A police officer in a tan trench coat came to the house the day after, which would have been the 18th.
And did you tell that police officer what you told here today?
I told him I seen the fire and somebody running with white tennis shoes. He didn't stay long enough for me to tell him anything else.
Did he ask you any questions about further descriptions about the individual you saw running?
No.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
You drive, Ms. Kadera?
Yes.
And what do you do when people drive in town with their high beams on and they come towards you?
I hit my high beams to tell them to lower those.
And who was driving that night?
My husband.
And did anyone flash him while you were riding in that car, the high beams, to help tell him that you had your high beams on?
No, there were no other cars around.
So you were driving with your low beams on?
I have no idea what he had on.
What do you drive with in the city?
I drive low.
Is your husband usually a law-abiding driver?
As far as I know.
And how far a trip did you go that night?
We went from 4.5 at Myrtle to 14th in Warren.
How many blocks is that?
I don't know. I didn't count them.
Are you telling this jury that you didn't come across any cars?
Across Marquette, we came across them.
Did anybody flash you telling you that you had your high beams on?
No,
What does that indicate to you?
that we had our low beams on.
Again, when you come down to State's Exhibit 2, stand where you did before. Now, will you point to where you saw the fire?
Right around in here.
I'm sorry.
Right around in here.
Where was your car?
We were turning here.
You were coming in the direction of where the fire was,
Yes.
and then you turned.
Yes.
Your lights never went into the direction where the individual was.
On our car, when the headlight pointed off, they weren't exactly even.
So out of that stray headlight, you saw this.
Yes,
But you're sure it was a low beam?
as far as I know.
Okay, excuse me. Let me make sure I'm right. You're right here at... You're right here at this intersection here.
And you see this down here.
One of our headlights pointed out this way.
You were able to see a black leather jacket with studs,
It was a dark leather jacket.
but the studs I'm interested in.
The light reflected.
What light?
The headlights or the fire?
The fire between you and this individual?
Yes.
Saw that fire, and with a low beam that's astray, you were able to detect chrome studs or light studs?
It was a stud or a reflector. It reflected off the light.
It could have been a shiny jacket?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It was either a button or a stud.
The first time the police didn't get that from you was because they didn't stay around?
Yes.
Who else lived in the household?
My mother, my father, I think it was a friend of ours or my sister-in-law, one of the two, and me and my husband.
Are you sure you didn't talk to your husband?
Positive. He was still in bed.
Who did he all talk to?
Just me.
Are you positive you didn't speak to your talk to your father?
He asked my father if anybody saw anything, and I woke up.
Your husband didn't wake up?
No.
That's your testimony? He didn't talk to him?
No, he wouldn't.
You would have known if he had.
He would have come downstairs with me.
Now, if I were to suggest to you that the distance between here to about here is 250 feet, would that be acceptable to you, or would you think it's something different?
I'm not good in feet and inches.
Was it a half block or 3/4 of a block?
It's about half a block.
And if someone were to measure that and say it was 240 feet, would you take offense to that?
No.
You would find it acceptable?
Yes. If someone else measured or I measured it, I'm not good in feet or inches.
I'll hand you what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 112. Do you see more clearly than you see right there what was going on in the fire scene?
All the bright lights weren't there.
You had less light,
Yes.
but you could see more.
Yes.
You're saying you're right here, and you're looking in this direction, and you can see more clearly than you can see in this picture, more distinctly?
This is more blurry because all the lights. There wasn't that much light up there that night.
Really?
Yes, because one of the street lights is out, as far as I know. It's not really lit up there.
Exactly. You're saying it's brighter here than it was the night that you were there.
No, the lights in that picture is brighter than what that area is.
Do you recognize this to be the area, though?
Yes.
Your Honor would offer State's Exhibit 112.
will be received.
Mrs. Kadera, what time did all this happen?
Right around 9 o'clock.
How do you pinpoint the time?
Because we were asked to go pick up my sister-in-law and she had to be home by 9:30.
Did she make it?
Yes.
You're saying real close to 9 o'clock.
Yes.
No further questions.
You may redirect.
Ms. Kadera, the time of 9 o'clock is an estimate, is that correct?
Yes.
And you've made that statement based upon when this other individual had to be home, is that correct?
Yes.
And you didn't look at a clock, so you don't know the exact time.
No. I just know we had just finished supper around 8:30 and got dishes done, and then they came over and asked us to go pick her up.
In the photograph Mr. Davis showed you, State's Exhibit 112, you indicated that what you observed was not similar to what this photograph depicts, is that correct?
Right. This picture has a lot more light to it, like somebody put up spotlights or something.
There's a lot of glare from various lights showing in this photograph.
Yes.
Does that distort, in your judgment, what this picture purports to depict?
Yes.
Did you see any motor vehicles parked along there?
No.
So what you saw then was just a poof of flame and a long-haired individual with a black jacket with some kind of metal on it running away.
Yes.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Do you have any recalls?
Yes. Ms. Kadera, what was this individual carrying?
Nothing that I know of. I didn't look at his hands.
Were his hands visible to you?
They were in front of him. They had to have been because they weren't down at his sides.
And was he walking, running, trotting?
Running.
Will you point out to us where he was going? Will you point out to us where he was going?
Towards this area right over here.
Towards the woods? Excuse me. You're familiar with that area, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay, was he going across the street or going this way?
Towards the woods.
Have some patience with me. Show me the woods. I see a lot of trees in this area. Tell us a little more about the topography.
The what?
Isn't that a real sharp hill here?
Somewhat.
About 15, 20 feet?
The kids play up there.
But the hill is there, is it not?
As far as I know, I haven't paid attention to the hill.
It's just a drop off here and gully.
Yes, and you go into someone's yard.
There's a fence here.
Yes.
The man ran into this area where there's a steep hill and a fence.
Yes, but you can cut back to the street.
You saw him in here. Where did you see him?
Right around in here, running that way.
Right around in here and running. How far did you see him go?
I don't know.
How many steps did he take while you were watching him?
Maybe 5, 10,
Did he get near the woods or that hill?
somewhat.
Where exactly was he, or as close as you can get, when you first saw him?
Right around in here.
And that's where the fire was?
The fire was right around in here.
Was the fire between you and he?
Yes.
Did your husband stop and take a better look in the stray headlight, or just keep going?
We kept going. We thought it was another brush fire, garbage fire.
You saw this man take 5 steps, and now you can tell us that he had a dark coat?
We weren't going that fast.
Thanks. No further questions.
I have no redirect, Your Honor.
Thank you, you may step down. You call your next witness.
Judge, can we approach?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you about a 10-minute break. Let's start again at 20 after, maybe 22 after. Save your jury room so we can get started as soon as possible. Keep the admonition in mind, do not discuss the case, and continue to keep an open mind. Please rise for the jury. You may be seated. Mr. Hogbaker, you want to make a record?
Well, yes, Your Honor. Basically, we'll ask for the break so that we can identify those portions of the 1995 transcript of what is the record. We don't think it's necessary to read everything into it. We're making extra copies right now, so we're reading for the court and the counsel. I think it's worth looking at 95 and see how best we prepare it down so that we don't have to read the entire transcript.
We're going to mark that as a separate exhibit and make it part of exhibit 5.
I think it's probably easiest if it came in as one exhibit for the testimony, unless you, whatever you want.
I think maybe it's up, I mean, they're going to prepare an exhibit. I don't want to be responsible for preparing their, what they want in and what they don't. Is there some sort of error I made on that?
Can you call it exhibit C?
Yes, please. Thank you, Your Honor. Had the opportunity to take a look more closely at the W-5 testimony of Mr. Roberta Kadera to avoid sort of a repeat of the niceties that begin at the beginning of the direct examination. What we would suggest is that we start the questioning on line 6 of page 1270. Which begins the discussion again about the time frame and what she observed.
And then the rest of the deposition?
The rest of the testimony, I think, would be too hard to carve up contextually. We would once advance the statement, once advance, I think we should just go ahead and read it all in. The only thing is that towards the end, on the last redirect, it's actually the last page, 1284. Mr. Toby had asked Ms. Kadera if he had asked her to change anything about her story. And Mr. Davis follows up by saying, Your Honor, professional stand on the record. It's not a question or an answer, nor is it an objection. It's just we don't do it. So I would ask that lines 9 through 11 not be read on page 1284.
Why would we stop at 5? That's not in that class.
Oh. That's fine, in a better solution.
Mr. Walton, from starting at line 6 on page 1270 and stopping at line 4 on 1280.
I guess the issue I have with some of the testimony, why I avoided it, there's times when she's marking on an exhibit, doing things that really can't be replicated. It would be I guess it comes in if the defense wants it, but I would propose not reading more of that testimony that's not clear. Doesn't lead it.
So your proposal would be to start later on and get out with the directions type thing, is that right?
Yes, my proposal would be to read the cross examination on page 1275 through line 15, 1276, excuse me, line 14. Do not read beginning at line 15.
I'm sorry, where are we at?
Page 1276.
Okay.
Read through the answer at 14. No, apparently I did not. Then at page 1278, there's more voting, hygiene, discussion. Did anybody flash you? I think that's been covered.
So, just so I'm sorry, back up as well, the 1276, read to 14, correct?
Yes.
And then nothing else on that page?
Yes.
And then 1277?
Nothing on 1277.
Okay. 1278?
Reading on 1281, line 7. Question that pretty much we just read. Let's talk with the homes who have proposed that
She's answering a little differently here. She said her husband was not there looking at her. She said he was doing the same.
Thinking that in light of the fact that we're omitting a lot of the map testimony references, instead of starting at 1270, it might be easier just to start at 1271. To avoid more of those references. Line 7.
Mr. Walton, is that right?
yes.
And then we'll just read straight through there. And really, remind you of the redaction comes during the cross-examination. So,
Are you the same readers?
As long as we can tell me exactly.
yeah, we can go through it. Sure.
1271 and line 7.
1271, beginning at line 7.
Reading at line 6. That's the whole question. Can you tell the jury where you were?
1271, Your
Oh,
Honor.
I'm sorry.
And then that reads straight through. We don't believe that there are any objections that we have to worry about. Through to page 1276, correct, Mr. Walton? Line 14, inclusive of 1276. Thank you, Your Honor. Roberta Kadera called as a witness by the defendant in the 1995 trial. They first duly sworn by the court was examined and testified as follows.
This is Exhibit C, and Exhibit C is in there.
Sorry, Your Honor. Page 1271, line 7. Can you indicate on State's Exhibit 63 the approximate place that you believe you saw the flare-up of the fire?
It was right around in here.
Right along the south side of 12th Street.
Yes.
And when you saw that flare-up, did you see anything else that caught your attention?
I looked over towards the woods, which is past the little hill there, and there was, I believe, it was a man with long hair running towards the woods.
When you say long hair, for someone like me who has hardly any, that can be a lot of... Excuse me. When you say long hair, for someone like me who has hardly any, that can be a lot of range. Would the hair that you saw be longer than yours?
Yes.
Did you notice anything that caused you to form an impression as to any wearing apparel of the person running?
The white tennis shoes stuck in my mind.
Do you recall any other item of clothing?
I believe it was like a black leather jacket. It had shiny stuff on it like silver studs and fringes.
Can you recall in relationship to that event when you first told anyone in law enforcement about what you had seen?
Somewhat.
Do you remember whether it was close in time to when little Jennifer's burned body had been found?
I believe it was after. It was in the next morning when the officer came to my door.
The officer came to your door. Were you up and about?
No.
Someone awakened you.
My father.
Did you come to the door?
Yes.
And did you at that time talk to a police officer about what you told us?
Yes, some of it. I don't remember the whole conversation with him.
What was your husband doing, if you know, when you caught a glimpse of this flare-up of fire and the person running?
Watching out the front window driving.
Did this observation of yours occur as the vehicle was turning north onto Myrtle?
Starting, yeah.
Do you recall whether anything illuminated the area other than the fire that you described to allow you to see what you saw?
We had a headlight off balance on the Yugo.
And in what direction was it pointed as opposed to where it's supposed to be?
I believe it was up. It's a lot of vehicles ago.
About how long a period of time would you say you had the chance to observe this person?
I don't really know.
Would it have been a matter of seconds?
Yeah.
The person was clearly running.
Yes, he was clearly running. His hair was blowing.
When you testified, you mentioned woods. Can you tell the jury where these woods are in this picture, number 63?
They're right here along the back edge of the ball diamond there. Yeah, I believe there's a ball diamond there. I really don't know.
Here's a ball diamond and a ball field.
The woods are right here, the trees. I call them woods.
This would be north and this would be east, and then the person would have been running to the southeast.
Yes.
Did the person you saw disappear into the woods?
I don't know. We turned too quick.
Could you tell if the person that you saw was carrying anything?
No.
The things that you have described for us this morning are those things that you are certain that you saw that night.
Yes.
And at least some of which, although you can't remember all the details, you told the police officer the next day.
Yes.
Those are the only questions I have at this time, Your Honor.
Can you cross-examine? Yes.
Ms. Kadera, has your memory gotten better with time?
No.
And mine may not be accurate, but the jury's collective memory may be. What did you notice about the jacket?
It's like it had silver stuff on it, like fringe all held on by a poncho.
How many times have you been talked to by the police officers and everyone else?
The next day, then at the deposition, the first trial, when Mike Toby called me and the detectives came back to my house the first time, when they questioned my husband first, and then they questioned me, and then they picked up my husband again.
Isn't this the very first time you mentioned fringe?
I don't know. I don't remember.
5 years. Isn't this the first time that you told anybody there was fringe?
I said there was silver stuff held by fringe, studs, ponchos, most black leather jackets have them.
Look at page 1039, question on line 22. That's not the way you described it before, 20 through 23, please. And just read it to yourself. Now, I simply put the question, that's not the way you described it before.
I had silver studs with black leather jacket indicates fringe.
When I asked you that last time, what did you tell me?
Silver studs.
And that's all?
Silver studs go in with fringe.
When I asked you that before, you didn't volunteer that information.
No, apparently I did not.
Bring your attention to page 1081, line 7. I know you're wearing glasses. Are your eyes corrected to 20/20?
I have no idea.
You know why you need glasses?
I know I have a bad left eye and they just said I have bad eyes. They all tell me.
You need them all the time?
All the time.
Are you allowed to drive without them?
No.
Have you taken driver's tests without them? Driver's license tests?
No.
You've always had your glasses on?
Yes.
Did you have them on that night?
Yes. A different pair.
When you saw the fire in the van, did you call your husband's attention to it?
I told him after we turned.
Did you go back?
No, not that I recall.
Did you or didn't?
Not that I recall. I don't remember going back.
Would you have gone back?
Possibly, but I don't believe we did.
Did you go back the next day?
No.
You didn't go back with your husband and you point out to him where you saw the guy?
No.
You're sure of that? Please think about it. I know it's been a long time.
I don't believe so.
Did you at another time go back with your husband and show him where you had seen things?
I think it was a few days later. We might have gone by. We put a sign there wishing Jennifer a happy birthday.
And you indicated when you went back with your husband where you had seen the man.
I believe he was standing there when I was talking to my mother-in-law.
You didn't get in the car and take a trip down there just particularly to point out where he was?
Not that I recall.
A police officer came to your house. He talked to everyone in the house, didn't he?
I don't believe so.
Were you up when the police officer came?
No.
You know who he talked to before you got up.
My father woke me up, so apparently he's the one that answered the door.
Talked to your husband? Was he home?
My husband stood there beside me.
As far as you know, you're the only one he talked to.
He might have talked to my father,
Anyone else live there?
my mother.
You know if he talked to her?
She was still sleeping.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Can you redirect, counsel?
Ms. Kadera, if you had to estimate the total amount of time that you and I have talked about your possible testimony, how much time do you think we spent to expect?
Under 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Fellner.
At this time, Your Honor, we will present to the jury State's Exhibit 501, which is the prior sworn testimony of Donna Adkins. It's from the 1993 trial.
Exhibit 501.
It will be read by Janet Martin. Donna Adkins, called as a witness on behalf of the state, being first duly sworn by the court, testified as follows. Would you state your name, please?
Donna Adkins,
Where do you live?
Clinton,
Did you live in Clinton in September of 1990?
Yes, I did.
Back in September of 1990, did you have occasion to be in Rock Island from time to time?
Yes, I did.
And why were you in Rock Island?
My boyfriend had an apartment there in Rock Island.
Where was that apartment located?
It's about a quarter mile there from the 11th Street Point and right next to the Hilltop Motel.
Donna, I'm going to show you what's been entered into evidence as State's Exhibit 5 and ask you if that's the apartment complex you are talking about.
Yes, this right here. This right here.
And is this the apartment he was living in?
In the very first apartment, right next to the steps, apartment number 1.
And you had been to this apartment complex on more than one occasion?
Oh, yeah.
Was this all apartments or was it part of a motel?
These were, where he was at, were all apartments as far as I know. I didn't really go into any of them.
Now, back in September of 1990, did your boyfriend move out of that apartment?
Yes, I moved him out, and he went to Franciscan Hospital through the alcoholic treatment, and I was moving him out of his apartment.
Did you actually carry his belongings out of the apartment?
Yes, I did.
Was there anything that was in your way as you were moving him out of the apartment?
Yes, red car.
I'm going to show you what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 104 and ask you if that appears to be the apartment your boyfriend lived in.
Yes, apartment 1, right there, and that's the red car.
That the apartment you were moving him out of?
Yes,
Does this appear to be a fair and accurate representation of his apartment from the exterior?
exactly.
And there's been no changes to this photograph in any way?
No, there isn't.
We offer State's Exhibit 104, Your Honor.
Exhibit 104 has already been received.
Donna, was there an occasion when you were at your boyfriend's apartment and the police brought a red car over there?
Yes.
And do you know the police or the detective that brought the red car over?
Detective Murphy.
And the red car they brought over, had you seen that car before?
Yes, I did.
When had you seen that car?
That car was constantly parked in front of my boyfriend's apartment door.
When they brought the red car over, what did the police do with it?
They just asked me to show them how the car was parked there and where it was parked at, and that's what I did.
Did you show them where it was parked at?
Yes, I did.
Did you do that as accurately as you could?
Yes, as accurately as I could.
I'm going to show you once again State's Exhibit 104 and ask you if that's what the scene looked like. That car parked in front of the apartment when you were moving your boyfriend out.
That's exactly it. And my car leaked oil, and there's the oil stain from where my car was leaking oil.
But is that,
That's it. That's exactly the way it was.
Again, I renew my foundation objection. We still don't know the time this photograph was taken or time to which this is referred to and the photograph referring back to.
Objection is overruled. It's received.
how many times did you go in and out of your boyfriend's apartment on the day you were moving him?
Probably about 10, 15 times carrying boxes out.
And did you have to pass the red car each time?
Yes, I did.
And how close did you pass that car when you went by it?
I'd say I was probably maybe 2 to 3 feet away from it.
Did you notice anything inside the car?
Yes, I did. I noticed a gas can.
Where was the gas can located?
It was sitting in the back seat and it was a real bad smell of gas fumes. That's how I noticed the gas can.
Could you describe what the gas can looked like to the jury, please?
It was a 2 or 3 gallon red gas can.
What was the shape?
It was round plastic.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 96 and ask if you recognize the gas can.
Yes, I do.
Where did you see that gas can?
Sitting in the back seat of his car on the passenger side.
That looks like the gas can?
Yes, it does.
Donna, we have just unveiled State's Exhibit number 86. Can you identify that?
Yes, I can. That's the same car that was parked there.
Now, if you would, Donna, would you take the gas can and put it in the back seat where you saw it the day you were moving your boyfriend out of the apartment?
It was laying up against the back seat just like that.
It was tilted in the nature you have it?
Yes.
Okay, you can close the door, come back up by the stand now. Now, you had seen the red car parked in front of your boyfriend's apartment before, had you not?
Yeah, I had several times.
Do you remember seeing a gas can in the back seat before?
No, I really never paid any attention until the day I really smelled the gas fumes coming out of it.
Did you contact the authorities with regard to your observations at any time?
Yes, I did.
And do you recall what day you did that?
It's either on a Wednesday or Thursday. It was right after I moved my boyfriend out and I saw them loading the car onto the truck. And that's when I called the authorities about the gas fumes in the gas can.
Do you remember what day it was that you were moving your boyfriend out of the apartment?
It was on a Tuesday.
You wouldn't remember the date?
No, I don't.
And then when would you have called the police and told them?
Wednesday night. It was Wednesday night or Thursday night that I called the police.
And how do you remember that it was that particular time?
Because it was just the day after, a couple days after I moved my boyfriend out of the apartment.
Did you see any news coverage?
I saw them loading the car on a flatbed truck, and that's how come I recognized it and realized what was happening.
After you contacted the police, were you ever taken to the Davenport Police Station?
Yes, they asked me to come to the Davenport Police Station. Detective Murphy did.
Why did they take you there?
Because they wanted me to describe the car to them and show them where the car, and how the car was parked, where the car was parked at, where my boyfriend's apartment and everything was at.
Did you ever see this vehicle at the Davenport Police Station?
I saw it in the police garage.
Did you identify it at that time?
Yes, I did.
No further questions.
Cross-examination, counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Adkins, you weren't personally present at the Hillside apartment when this vehicle was loaded on a flatbed truck, were you?
I was there the day before it was loaded on, yes.
You didn't actually physically see this vehicle loaded onto the truck, did you?
No, I did not.
You saw something on the news or something,
Yes,
and that's what prompted you to call the police.
yes.
And when you contacted the police, they eventually showed you a photograph of the vehicle.
No, they had me take them over there and show them where the car was parked at.
Had you seen the vehicle yet that they had in their possession before you took them over to Hillside?
Yes, they took me to, asked me if I'd identify the vehicle, and I did.
They only showed you one vehicle, is that right?
They had several of them in the garage, but the second I walked in the garage, I recognized the vehicle right off the bat.
How many vehicles did they have in the garage?
3 or 4 of them in there.
Were they all small red vehicles?
No.
Any other vehicles red?
No, I don't think so.
So they only showed you one small red vehicle.
Yes.
They showed you any pictures of vehicles.
No.
Do you know specifically where this garage was located that you saw these vehicles in?
No, I do not. The police officer, we left the police station. I got in the detective's car, they took me in the garage.
So you don't know where the garage was?
No, I do not, sir.
You know what date it was that your boyfriend moved out?
It was either the 15th or 16th. It was in September, and he committed himself into Franciscan Hospital.
Do you remember if there were any windows rolled down in the vehicle when you saw that day?
The back window of the passenger side was cracked. I'd say probably about a half an inch.
Any other windows rolled down?
Not that I noticed. All I noticed was the gas fumes. I just happened to look in and seen the gas can.
I'm going to hand you a pointer, ma'am. I'd like you to point out again where you saw the vehicle located.
Right there. Number 1 apartment, right there. That apartment complex.
And how often did you see that vehicle there?
Off and on, about every day for about 2 months.
Did you ever have occasion to go to the motel building there?
No.
You wouldn't know what kind of cars were parked at the motel building then.
No, I never went over to the motel.
I have no further questions.
Can you read your reference form?
No, Your Honor, no reason.
Thank you. Please step down. Was that 95 Crown? Thank you.
Your Honor, at this time, we're presenting Exhibit 518, which is the prior testimony of Paul Fellner from the 1995 trial. It will be read by Jim Conn.
All right, Exhibit 518 is submitted.
Paul W. Fellner, called as a witness by the state, being first duly sworn by the court, was examined and testified as follows. We are beginning on page 624. Once again, state your full name on the record.
My full name is Paul W. Fellner, F-E-L-L-N-E-R.
And the conventional spelling of the name Paul?
P-A-U-L.
Mr. Fellner, what is your occupation?
I'm a manager at Ameritech Corporate Security and keeper of the records.
What is Ameritech Corporate Security?
Ameritech Corporate Security is a regional company comprised of 5 states that use the Illinois bill, Wisconsin bill, Indiana bill, Michigan bill, and Ohio bill.
You work then for a telephone company called Ameritech.
I'm sorry?
You work then for a telephone company,
Yes.
which is called Ameritech.
Right, it's now called Ameritech. It was originally a conglomerated together.
And your home base is where?
Chicago, Illinois.
And within Ameritech, your particular duties have to do with security.
Yes, they do.
Sometimes when we think of security at a company, we think of perhaps a guard that carries a gun around. Is that what you do?
No, I do not.
Then,
My job there is I take care of and receive court orders and subpoenas in our department.
so by security, in your particular position, it means securing records to assure that they don't get to the wrong people, correct?
And the people that do get them obtain them properly.
Correct. You indicated then that the Ameritech covers the Illinois area,
Yes, it does.
and that would include Rock Island County.
Yes, it does.
How is the billing system done in Rock Island County? Or how does Ameritech do their billing system?
Well, in Illinois, Ameritech uses the system called Message Unit Detail. It's called MUD for short.
What do you mean by that?
We record every call that is made from your home phone or business phone or pay phone.
So recording each call then is the person who has the phone being billed for each call.
Yes,
So that would be in contrast to being billed just for the phone and getting one entire bill for the month at a set fee.
right. At one time, I would say maybe 15 years ago, we used to have what we called an area call, where you were billed one fee and you could make hundreds of calls to that area. We have dismissed that, and now We bill you for each call you make.
Is that how it was done in 1990?
Yes.
And particularly in September of 1990?
Oh, yes.
How do you keep track of calls being placed by a particular phone?
Each central office has a computer that generates the message unit detail for each phone number, and they are compiled and sent to a central storage area for billing.
And where is your central storage area located?
Well, in Chicago, we maintain our records for a period of 90 days, and the remaining ones that are beyond that time frame, up to 18 months, are stored on microfiche.
In Chicago, you obtain the records then for calls placed in Rock Island County,
Yes, we do.
and the bill is made to people who maintain phone service in Rock Island County.
Yes, we do.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor? Mr. Fellner, I'm going to hand you what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 102. Could you tell the jury what that is?
That is an itemized bill of message unit details for the account number 309-788-0606 and 0612. That's the main number.
You just told us that the phone number for that particular bill.
This particular one,
Does it refer to a particular individual?
yes, that number is a very difficult name. I can't even say that.
Say Kumar Desai.
Kumar Desai.
That's the individual who the bill is for?
The bill is for this individual in care of the Hillside Inn.
And what time does that document include?
Well, it shows October 7th, so it would probably be a bill for them for the previous month. In other words, it would include that time range.
From September 7th through October 7th?
Through October 7th, yes.
Now, does that only indicate the phone calls from the office or every room in the hotel, or every room at the Hillside?
If it was a bill, it would be for every room.
The billings for all rooms come through that one bill.
Yes, they do.
Was that document compiled in response to a subpoena?
Yes, it was.
Is that the appropriate way to obtain these documents?
Well, it's one way. There's another way of getting this document. If this person, Mr. Desai, wanted to see this document, he had to ask to see it. He could have seen it.
That's not what happened this time.
No, this was subpoenaed.
When those documents are subpoenaed, how are they delivered?
We send them by certified mail.
When you review these documents and confirm that they are exactly the bill you've just testified from Illinois Bell, from Ameritech?
They were from Illinois Bell at the time.
So at the time it was Illinois Bell.
Yes, it was, and yes, they are.
Now, is that the actual document, or would that be a photocopy?
Well, this is a photocopy that would probably come off of a microfiche, and if you see it on the right-hand side is a continuation. These are all records probably older than 90-day period.
Would you review it to see if there are any alterations or substitutions made to that document?
The only thing, these are photocopies. I couldn't tell if there were any alterations to them.
Do they appear to have any alterations made?
None.
Are those documents kept in the ordinary course of business at Ameritech,
Yes, they are.
formerly Illinois Bell,
Yes, they are.
for the purpose of doing business?
Yes, they are for the purpose of billing.
Your Honor, I offer into evidence State's Exhibit 102.
I have an objection based previously, and I would like to make it at the bench.
Mr. Fellner, I'm going to hand you again what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 102. I would ask you to review each page and assure yourself that those are accurate photocopies of the business records kept in the ordinary course of business.
I will do that. Yes, they are.
Your Honor, I again offer State's Exhibit 102.
May I very briefly dire the witness?
You may.
The manner in which these bills are printed.
I can't hear you. Better get that real close, please.
I feel like I'm at those congressional hearings back in the 50s, Your Honor. May I ask you this?
Yes.
Are the bills from Illinois Bell at that time printed with a fairly distinctive typeface computer generated?
Yes, they are. It's International Standard Computer.
So if there had been any alterations to these documents, it would be very difficult to match the print, wouldn't it?
I would say you're right. There are no alterations on them at this time.
I have no objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 1 or 2 will be received.
Mr. Fellner, I now refer you to what is now State's Exhibit 1 and 2 and ask you to review that. And can you tell me whether or not, I think you may have answered this before, whether or not that billing indicates calls made from separate rooms of the hillside?
The account has chosen to have this all on one bill and one number of the account. That was 309-788-7902.
And was the number of Mr. Desai?
Yes.
And I refer you to the date of September 17th, 1990.
Okay.
Would you review that document? What if that person wasn't home and I was placing a call and his answering machine picked it up?
If the answering machine picked up the call, it would register also just like you see it here. You would be billed a minute or the amount of time.
At the time the answering machine actually picked it up?
Exactly.
Even if the person doesn't leave a message and just wants to hear that click come on for an answering machine and hang up the phone?
As soon as the phone comes off the hook, it registers a 1-minute call.
And by off the hook, certainly answering machines don't pick up the phone.
Of course not. It actually does the same thing as if you were to lift the receiver.
And that becomes a 1-minute billing.
Immediately at that point.
Was there also a call placed from that number at 8:40 p.m. on September 17th, 1990?
Yes, there was. It was 2-309-794-1534.
How long was that call?
That call indicates a 2-minute indication.
No further questions?
Mr. Fellner, would you review again the September 17th, 7:38 p.m. call and tell me the length of that one?
The 7:38 p.m. call was for what indicates a 3-minute call.
Now, are there certain minimal parts of a minute that you can get charged for?
You get immediately right after the phone comes off the hook and it becomes a minute. It's at that point.
All right.
So when you get down to the 59 seconds to go to the next minute, then you get charged too.
So a minute is a minimal billing.
Minimal billing is for each call would be a minute.
And if I spoke for a minute and a half, the billing unit would minimally, but last would be a full minute, so I would be charged for 2 minutes.
Correct.
And so on, 3 minutes.
And so on.
Do you know approximately when you received the request to produce these documents?
Do I know when I received a request?
When the company received a request to produce?
Personally, no. It shows that it was filled February 19th, 1993 by a court order. It might have been received before that.
How long are records kept?
The records are kept for 18 months in the course of business.
Past 18 months, what happens to them?
We destroy the records.
Do you know whether or not, I take it from the fact that you had to look at the seal of the court to see when these were requested, that it's not in the event of which you have a real personalized memory, right?
No.
Your job involves responding to this type of thing hundreds of times.
Right.
Right now, if you wanted to get a phone bill from residents of Rock Island in the 7th Avenue area for that same day, you would be out of luck.
I'm sorry?
We can't hear you, Mr. Hallbaker.
If we were to try to get records for the 17th from any other Rock Island telephone on the 17th of September 1990, we would be out of luck on that.
At this time, yes.
I don't have any other questions, Your Honor.
No redirect, Your Honor, but Mr. Fellner was recalled.
All right, go ahead and continue with that.
Starting on page 1332. Paul Fellner, called as a witness by the state, having been previously duly sworn by the court, was examined and testified as follows. As has been stated, Mr. Fellner, you testified previously at this proceeding.
Yes, I have.
Mr. Fellner, I've recalled you because I think you can clear up what I fear may be a point of confusion. Now, we earlier heard testimony from a meteorologist that when he receives a printout from the National Weather Service and that printout refers him to a date during daylight savings time, he needs to adjust that printout because the National Weather Service only prints out Central Standard Time. So he has to make an adjustment when he gets that printout. Is that how Ameritech does their billing as well?
No, Ameritech goes by the time changes, and they do those changes twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall.
So that when a customer receives his or her bill, they wouldn't have to look at it and say, and make adjustments?
Correct.
Did you reduce to writing information regarding the time changes?
Yes, I did, because we,
Maybe if I could aid you, there's an exhibit that's been marked States Exhibit 146. For identification purposes, and I ask you if this is the document that you've reduced to writing to help you explain to the jury what happens at Ameritech.
yes, it is.
Is that document altered or changed in any way?
No, it has not.
And as you said, this is information that you have at Ameritech, that you reduced to writing.
Yes, it is.
Do you think it would aid the jury to understand your testimony?
Yes, it would.
For demonstrative purposes, Your Honor, may I offer States Exhibit 146 for demonstrative purposes?
I have no objection.
Exhibit 146 is received.
And just if you could briefly review what States 146 is.
What I've done is I write information about the central office's time changes. Every central office is changed when a time is to be changed at 1:59 and 59 seconds, either back 1 hour in the fall or forward 1 hour in the spring. This is a computer clock on a network switch with timestamps each call for billing. Routine checks are done daily, and a computer clock cannot drift more than 5 seconds per day either way. Any mismatch would trigger an alarm in our 24-hour surveillance centers. According to EBAC, and that's EBAC, commonly known as our Electronic Billing Accuracy Center, no more than a minute can ever differ because of the importance of our rate changes at 5 p.m. And switches that are used to make those changes are, we have AT&T switches in Illinois and our switches in Wisconsin that keep those changes. All the central offices are synchronized to one clock in the United States.
It sounds like time is pretty important to the phone company.
Yes, it is.
I'm going to hand you what has been entered into evidence as States Exhibit 102. I believe you testified earlier that this is a phone bill for the Hillside Inn.
Yes, I did.
Now, if I could refer you to September 17, 1990, is there a call placed from the Hillside Inn at 8:40 p.m.?
Yes, there is.
And what is the billing period for that call?
Billing period for that call is 2 minutes.
Is there also a call placed from the Hillside Inn at 8:41 on the same day?
Yes, there is.
What's the billing period for that?
That's 1 minute.
Could you explain to me, Mr. Fellner, how that can happen? And how it appears we have a call placed at 1:40, and then a 1 minute call is placed, but the earlier call is billed for 2 minutes.
As soon as the phone gets off the hook, it registers 1 minute to the billing period. That does not mean that you have to wait a whole minute to put that one in there. That one appears immediately as soon as it comes off the hook. You can make as many calls inside the 1 minute as often as you can dial a phone, and it'll register that same period, that time period. So that call could actually state it was 2 minutes. When you go over 61 or over to 60 seconds to the 61st second, it would mark it as 2 minutes.
Okay, now I'll hand you what has been marked as States Exhibit 147. Could you tell the jury what that is, please?
They're also phone records. These are also phone records.
Are they phone records kept by your company, Ameritech?
Yes, they are.
And how are you assured by that in reviewing that document?
The area code is 309 is ours for Illinois.
And 309, is that the area code that the call is placed from?
Yes, they are. This is the account.
What is the account phone number?
794-1534.
Will you review State's Exhibit 146 to determine whether any alterations have been made?
Yes.
Is that a true and accurate copy?
Yes.
Sorry, it's State's Exhibit 147.
Yes, it is.
Is that a true and accurate photocopy of those records?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I offer State's Exhibit 147.
147 will be received.
Mr. Fellner, is it possible for people in Rock Island, Illinois to call a certain number and receive the time and temperature of the day?
Oh, sure.
And what number is that?
Well, it's 309-708-0811.
Can you tell me what the first call placed on September 17, 1990 for 794-1534 was placed to?
On the 17th, that was at 5:12, I'm sorry,
On the 17th of September.
at 5:24 p.m. to 309-708-0811, and it was for a minute.
And you just testified that that was the time and temperature.
Yes.
I have no further questions.
You may cross-examine.
One simple question. If a person has a phone call at 8:46 and something occurs 2 hours later, what time would it be? Wouldn't it be 10:46?
I don't understand your question.
Well, you testified about phone numbers and about times.
Yes.
And I'm just asking a very simple question, as any person familiar with using time references. If you did something at 8:46 and do something 2 hours later, it would be,
10:46.
thanks, that's all I need to know.
No redirect.
You may sit down. That's it for today. Do you have a 5-minute one?
No.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 4:25, so we're going to adjourn for the day. I would ask you to be in the jury room by 9 tomorrow morning. I messed that up last week when I was trying to explain it to you, so I apologize. So let's be in the jury room at 9 tomorrow morning and we'll start again. Please keep the admonition in mind, do not discuss the case and continue to keep it in mind. Please rise to the jury.